people who love cycling more than anybody. De Ronde van Vlaanderen, the Tour of Flanders to you and I, a real festival of the bicycle. It's the same man that's won it over the last 2 years, Fabian Cancellara. He's not here, though. Another man who's won it 3 times in the last 10 years, Tom Bonen, also absent through injury. And, of course, the famous Kapelmuur of Gerardsbergen, absent too. It's a changed Tour of Flanders over the last 3 or 4 years. So many Belgian winners in the last 10, 68 in total. A really open race today. Well, the cobbles, corners, narrow roads, tension, drama and excitement. The day when Belgium and the wider cycling world stops what it's doing, breaks out the beer, gets the freaks flying, and even gets on a tandem to ride up into the podium. It's that sort of crazy day. Anything and everything will happen, and there will be supporters from all around the world there to watch it. Brief delay at the start after a farmers' protest disrupted a bit of the route out of Bruges, but for 9 neutral kilometres the gun went, and it would be a processional ride out of town. Everybody prepared for the pavé then. The one-day race first run in 1913 when Paul de Man won after 330 kilometres. Today 264, starting in a very, very relaxed mood, the calm before the storm, and fingers crossed for all those hoping to do the business. Absence of wind, absence of bad weather, meant that it might be a difficult break to get into. Lots of riders wanting to keep this together, making sure exactly the right composition would go away. Daniel Oss, another of the favourites, on perhaps the second tier of BMC racing. Well, the farmers had their word as well. I'm sure they'd be getting down to the business of calling and screaming at the race from now. Lars Bohlmann, Sepp van Marken, Astana and Lotto NL Jumbo respectively, and Pipo Pozzato. Could he roll back the years? Tyler Farrer in conversation with Brad Wiggins. Brad born over here. Tyler Farrer, a long-time resident of the region. And a new hairstyle, Tyler Farrer. He's gone for the pirate look. So the flag would go. Early attacks, and this would last for a long, long time today. Bora Argon 18, Europe Car, Topsport Vlaanderen, all teams who wanted to get riders in the breakaway. And this is what the Tour of Flanders looks like in 2015. It's an interesting route, 264 kilometres in all. Bruges to Oudenaarde, 2 climbs return, an additional 5 kilometres added to this year's route. The first 200 kilometres telling us who is in or out of the race. The old requirement climbed for 2 of 3 times today. Paterberg, and then of course Steenbeck and Dries Steenbeck, Kruisberg, with a final lap of those 2 Hellingen Hills, 264 kilometres to 2015 Tour of Flanders, all decided towards the end.
Sacrifice, passion, and glory. Giro d'Italia 2015 in May on Bein Sports.
Little pump on the back, come on, here we go, I'm with you, let's go.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to be a bit of a response from a couple of teams in the peloton on this, though. There's some strong riders going out of the peloton now, and the moment, you know, they're letting further Lotto Soudal riders go away, and we've seen what's happened in the past. They're all going incredibly well at the moment, so don't want to let too many guys, certainly not too many Lotto Soudal riders get out there, because, like I said, in the last few races, they've had a very strong numerical advantage coming into the final.
So what do you think of these tactics? What's going to happen in the last 75 Ks of this race? Remember, let us know at Magnus Backstedt on Twitter, at Rob Hatch TV for all your comments and predictions and questions. Lotto Soudal really animating this race. Again, we've seen the plans, we've seen the tactics of various teams out there today. For Sky, it's been very much control, occupying their positions at the front, not wasting too much energy, but riding at the same time. Jam Cycling keeping their leaders safe. Heinrich Hausler to the front, giving him some sliding room on all the climbs as well. They've done a great job, as we have Docker, Jul Jensen, and now is that Van Lerberger or Van Speebroek? Looked like a number 1 on the back of his jersey, but we'll have to check it's not a number 7. 2 riders chasing behind. Looks as though they're going to make the bridge. 75 k's to go. This is a race now. Sky still controlling, but a lot of teams ready. Peter Sagan towards the front. And I think now that if you do want to be involved, with all that's happening off the front of this group, you cannot afford to be around the back if you're a main man.
No, definitely not. And coming down towards the Canarieberg here now, although we have quite a big gap in between this climb and the Eau de Quarmont next time around, the Canarieberg is one of these climbs where there's always a lot of stuff happening going into it. It's quite a fast descent here, and then a sharp right-hand turn into a very narrow road that then starts to climb. And in the past, we've seen a few crashes and things happen there, so just want to make sure that all the top riders are near the front and getting into the bottom of this climb in a good way.
Canarieberg then. This is back. What a job he's done today. He's blowing as well now.
Yeah, of course, he's been out there for a long time today, so he'll certainly start feeling it now.
74 k's to go. Stig Brooks is the man who's attacked. It's a 25, not a 24. We were close enough. Lotto Soudal sending Stig Brooks then. It's just his second Ronde de Vlanderaan. He made his debut last year. Already a protagonist, attacking from behind. So 2 Lotto Soudal riders up the road. Three minutes and 7. That gap just growing a little with the acceleration that these two have been putting on. And
I was wondering how long it would take before Lars Bak was putting in that move, because I think the pace that 6-man group was riding at was a bit slower than what he's able to do on his own or with another man out there. So, you know, it was only a question of time really before Lars put that big dig in.
Big right turn, that's going to be one that the peloton are going to want to take quickly. Again, it all comes down to recons as we go past the last feed zone of the day. Time to get that in your bellies. You can see Geraint Thomas there with the big blue musette. Bernie Eisel radios in as Puccio and Viviani, the 2 Italians, take it in turns to do the turns.
Yeah, I think Viviani was just signalling there that we're turning right off the road down here, so I'm quite happy taking the turn, but just watch out for that corner.
Get the food in either in your pockets or in your bellies quickly.
Yeah.
And that's the sound. It's got a message that's got to go through the whole peloton for everybody to be safe as well.
Yeah, definitely.
On to the Canarieberg.
At the end of the day, you know, the safety you don't really think of at that point. You just want to make sure that you're getting into that right-hand corner relatively far near the front of the peloton, and that's why a lot of riders are starting to take risks now, and this is the moment where, you know, time of the day when you can start adding in a few slightly higher risk elements into your racing. Beforehand, it's very much about just trying to stay safe and in whatever place you can, and whatever place, you know, if you've got a Team Sky around you that are happy riding on the front all day, then that's a very nice place to be. But apart from that, like Paolini's been doing, sitting off the back, that's another place where you always got a bit of time to brake and stop. Although you get caught behind stuff, you might have to chase, but as long as you're not doing the chasing yourself, then, you know, it can be one way of riding it. Not one that I personally would prefer to do, but you know, every man to his own, right?
It's the jewel in the crown of the Flemish Classics, the Ronde de Vlanderaan. It will redefine the career of any rider lucky, good enough to win it. Of course, I know that you certainly felt the same with Paris-Roubaix. It does define what you're about as a bike rider, and that is why people will take risks here. People will have big plans, and why this is such a big deal. The people on the side of the roads who've seen the emotion, who've seen the frites and the beer going down plentifully so far today, even since last night. But once you're on the road, once you've got a number on your back, you know that if you win this race, with Martinez, part of those chasing on alongside Stig Brooks. You know that if you win this race, if you're involved towards the end, your name will go down in history as a legend.
Yeah, it does, and you know, you only have to look at the list of previous winners and look at the names that are there, and you know, if you add your name to it, it's a pretty special feeling.
The Flandrian flag, the yellow with the line of Flanders on it. There's Cannondale Garmin representatives on the side of the road there with a bidon or two. Stig Brooks and Yannick Martinez, well, they've been chased down. Sky, of course, I think not particularly too interested in the fact that they just had to chase these two down, but the road is narrowing. Of course, we're coming up to those climbs, and it's what you were saying before. Okay, Viviani's on the front. I've got a turn to do here. Get that food down here because the race is right on in front of us. Yeah, definitely, and also making the, you know, like I said, making the riders aware of that we are turning right, so that they know what the plan is and how to pan out across the road and try and block a few guys coming through, and what lines to use to get themselves in there. They're not necessarily keen on chasing these two guys down, but it's one of these where the tempo gets driven up so high just to stay near the front. It is seemingly Van Speebroek who is out there. It was a 7, not a 1. It's the opposite of what they originally told us, but it's certainly no doubt about the fact that it's Jules Jensen up there in the fluorescent yellow. Good work as well from Mitchell Docker. I think it was his first Grand Tour last year at the Giro d'Italia, and what a Grand Tour it was. He was just about left standing with, I think it was the big Canadian time trialist, the big star of the team, who managed to pick up pink jersey early on, first stage. Andre Greipel time. Lotto again trying to put the pressure on. Yeah, sending another rider up the road there, and that's proving to be quite an interesting little group now. Let's see, is that one of the Wanty Group Gobert riders is coming out of the peloton as well, trying to bridge that one. Looks like 246 there is Mirko Selvaggi. Yeah. Italian rider. 3 Italian riders in the Belgian team, by the way. Simone Antonini's one, and Marco Marcato, we already mentioned there as well. So this is where, if you're trying to control the race, you've got to be careful, because you're watching riders go by. You're going to make sure that the rider that you want to control and keep back in the peloton doesn't escape your gaze. Yeah, definitely, and so, you know, a guy like Andre Greipel, who's made his way onto this group here now, is a rider that they need to worry a bit about, and there's certainly more riders coming out. It looks like Bjorn Thorau from Argon 8, Bora Argon 18 coming out of there as well, trying to get across. And of course, 2 Lotto riders here, one further up the road. That's 3 riders for Jürgen Roelands and Jens de Bussera up in advanced positions in the race. Yeah, one of the BMC riders coming across as well here. So a big group forming. Transitional period, we're very much into it now. Just outside that final hellish last 60 kilometres, where it's climb after climb after climb, and the big cobbled climbs as well. After 200 kilometres of racing, people's bodies starting to change how they feel. Energy levels, have you eaten correctly? Have you looked after yourself? Now then, Ethics Quickstep getting involved. This means the race really does have to kick off now. Ethics Quickstep getting a man involved. Sky will want to look at that very, very closely, as will Katusha as well. Yeah, definitely, they have to, and that's quite a big group that's just gone up the road here now, and regardless of who's in that group, they need to make sure that they don't let it go too far. And certainly when you're starting to add names like Andre Greipel into it, and it certainly looks that it is one of the Ethics Quickstep riders coming across, that straight away becomes dangerous. Now then, problem, mechanical problem. Adam Blythe. Blythe has done so much work at the start and at the front of the group. We had a problem as well for the BMC riders, Jempe Drucker, riding this race for the first time with his new team. Jempe Drucker, the rider from Luxembourg. 68 Ks to go. It's been a slow burner in the last hour of this race, but we're finally seeing some sort of action off the front. It's been one of control so far, but difficult to control the group up front now. Look at this forming. The racing really on right now. And they're getting the remnants of the original breakaway as well involved. If anybody has anything left and can hang on to the coattails, then the numbers will swell again here.
Yeah, they certainly will do it, but it looks like there's a number of riders now who are keen to press on with this one, so this certainly will become quite a dangerous group.
Already had a fall this week, as you can see, left arm bandaged up for Jean Gadret. He's a former winner of a stage on the Giro d'Italia, remember? Not really kicked on since that 2011 stage win, though. I think it was in the Marche region of Italy, centre-east.
Just to give you a bit of an update on when the next climb is, that is the Ronde De Vlanderaan, coming with 54.6 kilometers to go. And then they're coming in very quick succession, and we'll get to see the Patersberg for the first time in this particular race. So bit of normal road here for a while now, and then we're all action all the way into the finish.
Martinez, Selvaggi, von Speybroek, and of course the man who we thought was there, Bjorn Thural, making up that breakaway. That is for Kerspolk, just making sure that Dillier comes through and does his turn as well.
Yeah, but you had the two sprinters sitting on the wheel there, so everyone's kind of trying to make everyone come through and take their turn. And as soon as you've got a couple of riders sitting on the back, then there's always that sort of funny feeling within the breakaway. No one really is taking their turn full on. It's a bit of a hesitant kind of way of riding, and that never bodes well for a breakaway. And it usually means that the peloton tend to eat in quite quickly onto any advantage that you have.
65 k's to go. So 1 minute and 56. Sky trying to control things at the front, but it hasn't always worked so far today. Certainly Lotto Soudal will think that their plan is being carried out to the letter at the minute. Lars Yittingback, the rider wearing 22. Danish rider with the man from Age de Zella Mondiale in front of him. Damien Gaudin. These are the only two riders remaining right at the front of the race from the original 7-man breakaway. Is Denyek Stibor not the time to have a problem? He's been back to the peloton, and as you can see, he's having some help to get straight back up into the group. That help courtesy of Ilio Kessa, the man in front of him. Elia Viviani still doing the job. John Degenkolb back towards the front as well on the left-hand side. That's exactly what Jan Alpecin fans will want to see. Arnaud Demar, the French champion, hiding away in that group. Visible just on the right-hand side as well. Astana still for Lars Bohm. Been a while for Adam Blythe to get back in the group. He's got some help as well here. They obviously consider him to be quite important for this race. A couple of riders waiting, ready to help. They are Jens Kukkeler and Lee Howard. Jens Kukkeler himself,
yeah,
still probably the main protected man, but Matt Heyman, there or thereabouts towards the end, had his chance to win Ronde De Vlanderaan a couple of years ago.
But also depending on how this race is being run over the next 60-odd kilometers now, if it's not becoming too hard and not too many big accelerations on the climbs, then Adam Blythe would certainly be a man to be reckoned with. And you know, Adam has gone really well on this type of terrain in the past as well. So I certainly wouldn't count him out. Looks like his breakaway now is still starting to work a bit better together, and I think it's coming down to the two sprinters. Certainly Andre Greipel starting to take a few turns as well, and that's kind of given everyone a bit of confidence to start to work at the at this breakaway. But pace in the peloton is still being picked up as we heading up this bit of a climb actually in through the forest here before we head out onto the main road down towards the towards Quadramont and start heading up the Ronde de Quadramont again. So now's the kind of time to get your last drink, get some drinks on board, make sure that you you get a fair amount of food into you before you start descending down to the requirement, because that descent is so fast, and you want to make sure that you're in a good place when you start descending there and got some teammates around you to pressure on and actually keep you out of trouble. Marcus Bergat on the back here, having a quick look around, and whether he needs a wheel or not, I don't know. Whether he's just waiting for one of his team leaders. Him himself could actually be a team leader in this kind of race. I mean, he's
been up here before as Marcus Burkhardt. He's been up here in all sorts of races at this time of the year. Marcus Burkhardt's got a really good record for BMC here. He's riding his 10th Tour of Flanders as well today, the big German. Best ever finished 7th in 2009. He was 12th last year. Best result this term, though, an 8th position on the Tour of Qatar Stage 2. 2 of the breakaway, absorbed, and it's big Bernie time for Sky.
Yeah, this is, like I just said, it's a very important stretch of road coming up. As soon as you may come out onto the main road here, start heading down towards the Eau de Quadremont again, and it's a very fast descent that we got. Getting Bernie Eisel up here now is probably not a bad idea to start looking after things and bossing the peloton around a bit.
Thanks to Michael Liddy, by the way. It wasn't actually Mitch Docker who made it at the end of the Giro last year. I was making things up in my mind. It was actually Michael Hepburn, pardon me. We lost that many of the Orica Green Edge riders last year at the Giro. It was absolutely chaotic for them. Fantastic first week with Matthews as well going on to take the pink jersey, winning that brilliant stage to Monte Cassino. 62 Ks to go here. And Sky really getting active now.
Well, they're putting 3 guys to work here, and Viviani, definitely one of them, and Bernie Eisel, and I think Puccio is the other guy.
Pardon me, Sagan up to the front as well. We've not really seen that for a while.
No, but this is an important part of the race now, and once we're hitting the Eau de Quadremont, when we're turning into that narrow section that we saw earlier, that is pretty much it in terms of positioning yourself and making sure that you're there. Going up the climb, across the cobbles over the top, and then you get out onto the main road. You've got about 1 kilometre or so before you're turning back onto a narrow road, start descending, and then you hit the Patersberg, and then we're flat out with climb after climb after climb, and there's only a couple of kilometres in between each and every climb. So this is key to making sure that you stay near the front.
Well, the party is about to begin. The last 60 kilometres or so of relentless action forecast here, and that move is bringing them all back together. And on the Ronde De Vlanderaan as well. Yeah,
exactly, but it'd be interesting to see now whether Katusha are starting to put a couple of guys in there to help Team Sky to stretch this out on the descent. That doesn't look too good.
Oh dear, oh dear. Let's hope that doesn't come down in time. Peloton's got to get under there quickly. Oh, we've had everything today affecting the race that didn't need to do. We've had neutral service cars, and we've now got one of the big sponsors' banners being held up just above the peloton. Oh, it's a nightmare for the organisers today. Desperate to try and hold it up as everybody comes through.
Team cars are never going to get through there with the bikes on the roof, though.
Oh, the air's completely gone out of it. What a mess. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, they come in threes. Let's hope that's it now.
Let's hope that is it, but...
It was a stretch to get under it for that rash rider from NTN Kubica. Everybody ducking almost as they go under as well. It's that sort of sensation.
Oh, that is not far off the riders' heads. Luke Rowe there, just making sure that everyone gets through okay, so...
They want to put one of those big signs up they put on the bridges for lorries, don't they? 1.5 metres maximum.
Back out onto the main road again after that little deviation onto the Ronde van Vlaanderen Street, and effectively an obstacle.
The monument to Karel van Veenendaal. Well, 1 minute and 50, the peloton behind these two. Well, we're at 1:22 according to our GPS. We were getting 1:50 in our ear there from the race radio. The GPS says 120. I'm inclined to go with that because it has been coming together. We've seen a lot of movement from behind with the three riders doing the work at the front for Team Sky. Lotto Soudal still with Lars Bak, who's done a fantastic job today. We've ridden 200 kilometres here, and he must have been in the break for 170 of them.
Yeah, I think something like that. But Lars Bak's interest right now is getting to the top of the Eau de Quadmont still with the gap clear, because I think we're likely to see a bit of a move going on the Eau de Quadmont this time up. A first sort of selection, if you will, of today's race.
Well, you said it's an open race today. Likely to have the first new winner for the first time since Nick Noyens won in 2011. This time is when it is all going to kick off. Is today the typical sort of day as we turn right towards the Eau de Quadmont? Is today the typical sort of day where we're going to see a long move having any sort of chance?
Well, by the looks of things, not really. I think this is bound to come together, and yes, there's opportunities for new moves going, but there's going to be a move with all the favourites in it. Certainly, the first selection of today is going to have all the major players. Then it all comes down to positioning, punctures, all the rest of it, usual racing, as to what happens. And here we see the scramble that it is to get yourself onto that right-hand turn, and then you've got another big, massive lead out that needs to be done to get onto the next right-hand turn. And Sky there now putting all the pressure on. Looks like Luke Rowe is finally getting to the front. It's that Bradley Wiggins taking the turn now to get around this corner. The first right-hander. Swing across the road there now, block everyone else, and take your team with you.
It's a real fight for position as we attempt to go onto the road that leads up to the Eau de Quadmont. The second time up what the three-time winner Johan Muser describes as his favourite hill. Sky having to really fight for position there to reel in another attempt to attack the race. Some fantastically fast riding having to be done. They just about pulled it off. Other teams will be getting involved and wanting to do the same sort of thing as we come into each and every one of these climbs now.
But I can't stress enough how important the next right-hand turn is for the remainder of this race, as we've got Orica Green Edge moving up here now with Matt Heyman being very much looked after, put in the right position. Sky got a bit squashed there against the side of the road, and this is the corner we're talking about, the one you want to get into. Very tricky one as well, with the rain sort of the drains on the side of the road.
Yeah, the little gutters left and right that you can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Matt Heyman being looked after. He was third wheel there for Orica Green Edge, the Australian team. You can see you've got a bit of traffic furniture as well there. And there were riders slipping down through the group all the time, Magnus.
Well, Sky have completely lost the grip of this one going into the Eau de Quadmont. They're drifting back a bit. I wonder whether they can actually regain a bit of position before we turn in right. And it all comes down to then if the team that's in charge going into this narrow road, whether they want the pressure on or whether they want to back it off again. If they back it off, which I would do, it would effectively completely block the whole road. Ideally, you know, you're hoping that you've got a couple of the main favourites sitting relatively far back, having been caught in the middle of the traffic. When you hit the cobblestones, start upping the pace a bit, and as you get to the top of this climb and going over the falls flat, that's when you really want to hit it hard, and you can cause a major reaction. Geraint Thomas still near the front though. He's got himself in there.
Pace is up ever so slightly, and here we go down the chase. Matteo Trentin, who's been riding fantastically well in the last few weeks. He's podiumed recently as well. 47 seconds in the meantime for the break. That gap is being destroyed as we're on to the Eau de Quadmont. The break is halfway up the peloton on the first few cobble-less slopes. In the meantime, right onto the cobbles. Remember, 1.6 kilometres of the 2.2 Ks of this climb have those horrible cobbles along the front. Compared to the likes of the Cobham-Bay they come there, they're fairly well maintained, I have to say.
Yeah, reasonably well, yeah. And certainly if you've got the clear sort of line of riding and you can select where you want to put yourself, then it's not too bad. But there are certain sections of this, certain sides of it where the cobbles are actually quite bad. But Lars Bak is certainly starting to pull a few faces going up here now.
Lars Bak, hands on the tops of the bars, tries to battle with himself, his body, the will, the mind and the cobbles all at once as Damien Gaudin puts on the pressure. Trentin is now in this group. Trentin's second wheel. It's de Bussert, the Belgian champion, at the start. And behind we have movement as well from Lampre, as well as Matt Heyman. You got to be in it to win it. Heyman is there, battling up the cobbles of the older Quaramont, and this race really starting to split up now.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's a bit of selection going to be made over the top here now. I think you see the favourites are right near the front, but not actually taking any turns and not really putting a maximum amount of pressure on yet. But I'll be surprised if we don't see someone actually put a big dig in on here.
Pardon me, it's Trentin who's in that second group behind. It's it may well be Mars at the front.
It is.
Nicholas Mars. There is Stijn Vandenberg. This is Damien Gaudin, flicks his arm. I don't think Lars Vac is going to come through there, though.
No, Lars Vac would have, at this point, probably heard that he's got De Busquet on his way in a small select group, although not really clear of the rest of the peloton. But look at their guys sitting up near the front here now. We've got Geraint Thomas, Peter Sagan is in there.
Oss is there as well for BMC. Here comes Pozzato. Degenkolb was there. Luca Paolini. Ian Stannard gritting his way up to the top. The Australian champions, jersey 2 of Heinrich Hausler. Sepp van Mark around.
Relatively far back.
Yeah, halfway down, I would say. So it is, in fact, Nicholas. It's Yves Lampaert. Yves Lampaert who's up there towards the front for Ethics Quickstep, pardon me, the number 13. Just got a quick check on that. Remember, Hugo Korovitz. Half Tom Bonen, half Johan Museo. Well, if that rings true today, we'd be seeing quite a rider towards the end.
Yeah.
Hugo Korovitz, the well-known Belgian journalist. Popovic towards the back as well of that group. This is Lars Bak and Damien Gaudin. You can see why. Longest cobble climb in this race. And when you watch, they seem to take an age to get to the top. Yeah, even at this pace.
Definitely, but it's a false flat. The last sort of 1,500 meters or so, at least a kilometer, and then it kicks up as you're turning. There's a slight right-hand kink in the road, and you tend to just stall a bit there. It's very difficult to keep the movement going, and this is the section they're hitting right now. Matthew Heyman on his way up here towards this front group.
Confetti and everything flown and thrown over the riders. You can see the Française de Jeux rider not managing to stick the pace. It's all about strength, and a new move is starting to develop at the beginning of this race now. For now, it's Bak and Gaudin still out there, but hot on their heels, led up by Yves Lampaert. A new group, including the Belgian champion, Jens de Bussere. Look behind as well, movement 2 from Cannondale Garmin. Fast-moving movement as well, you have to say. And it's not their Dutch champion, Lankeveld.
It looks like Jack Bauer style to me.
Jack Bauer. If you want to throw in an outside name for this race, a strong man. If he's on a good day, then watch out, everybody. Remember, he was close, so close at the Tour de France last year. It was heartbreak on the line for Jack Bauer. He'd be a very, very popular man to be involved at the end, I know that. 32 seconds then from the second group for Bak and Gaudin. And you can just see them coming down behind. And even if it doesn't turn into a brand new group at the front, it's certainly going to weed a few people out the back, that, Magnus.
Yeah, there will be big splits coming in the peloton, and then out onto this main road. A bit of a climb up, and you turn left off the main road into a very fast, very technical descent. Usually a couple of mishaps on the way down there, and then you got that nasty corner right-hand turn onto the Patersberg, which you ideally need to take front row.
You know, I was stood there.
Quinziato on his way up here as well from BMC, Ray.
Chimolai then in the front group, Quinziato chasing on behind, and as you can see, Tinkoff Saxo wanted to get involved in that. Could look like it could be Tosato, but we will have to wait and see. Greipel is there as well. All coming back together. Geraint Thomas still towards the front. Thomas, remember, the winner of the Edri Harelbeke. First ever British rider to win that race. Degenkolb
up here near the front as well on the left-hand side of your pictures in completely black kit with black helmet.
How does Degenkolb want to race this race? Is he hanging on for a sprint towards the end?
Follow the wheels, and then just trust your sprint.
Same sort of thing as Alexander Kristoff, you'd say, no?
Yeah, exactly. The same tactics as Kristoff, and Degenkolb has proven already that was he can do that. He's got the legs after a long, hard day on the bike. So I think he's just going to have to be very confident in his own sprinting ability and hope that he basically riders are towing him all the way in towards the finish line here.
Godin at the front for AG de La Mondiale. Look at this race. Gaps appearing all the time. And we're on our way to the Paterberg. First time we've seen it this year. 2 ascents, the first of which still to go. And remember, there's still one more, the third and final ascent of the Eau de Quaremont to come. We've got the Taaienberg, the Kruisberg, Steenbeck, the Ries, and of course the famous, the horrible Koppenberg still to come. Koppenberg now in less than 10 kilometres time as well. It's thick and fast here. There really is no let up now, Maggie.
No, none whatsoever. And this next climb, the Paterberg, is such a difficult climb. It's only 360 metres long, but it averages 12.9% and a maximum of over 20%.
And there's very rough cobbles, if I remember
very
rightly,
difficult
on the
cobbles to ride. Very difficult indeed. And then it's pretty much straight on into the Koppenberg. It's not really that far to go down to the Koppenberg, and that's a 22% climb. And usually, unless you're in the top 10, top 15, going into the bottom of the Koppenberg, you more or less, you know, it's a 50-50 chance you'd be walking up.
Remember the 1980s? Phil Anderson and who else was it? There were only 2 riders that actually got on their bikes. Now then, Paterberg time. Short, steep and decisive. Rough cobbles and the breakaway are on there with just over 50 k's to go. A maximum of 20.3%, an average of 12.9, and as ever, it is packed with lovers of road cycling. Look at this. Spring well and truly arrived despite the cool temperatures. Chavanel off the front for Yam Cycling.
Interesting move.
Sylvain Chavanel making his move, the first real move that Yam have thrown out all day. So Sylvain Chavanel's kept very, very quiet. We've hardly seen him. He's been protected and sheltered all the way through in the peloton. Chavanel knowing this climb, and he's followed by a bunch of his former teammates. Interesting that Sky, with Geraint Thomas up the front, rest of the riders have almost disappeared here.
Yeah, they didn't get into the bottom of the Eau de Quaremont in a good way, and with that they've kind of lost position and they haven't managed to regain it again. And Geraint is finding himself very isolated near the front.
Well, the Fabian Cancellara fan club are still there, despite the fact that last year and the 2013 winner's not there at the minute. Here is Chavanel working his way through and coming through with Vandenberg as well, not too far behind. It's Damien Godin who has left Lars back behind. I think that's well going to be the last we see of Lars back in this race.
Yeah, back is about to be swallowed up by Sylvain Chavanel here. Chavanel definitely, it's a good time for him to start moving around a bit, but look at how easily Geraint Thomas is riding up here though.
Geraint Thomas looking good. Vandenberg just in front of him. Bozzato close to the front. Sagan just behind as well. De Busser, the Belgian champion, alongside Brulons as well. Stibar in the middle of that group, pardon me, as is Van Marken. Arnaud Demar, the French champion too. Lagerveld, the Dutch champion. Heinrich Hausler midway through the group as well. A lot of big names away from the front. And where's Greg van Avermaet? Haven't seen him towards the front of this race yet.
Bradley Wiggins coming through towards the back end of that group as well. A couple of guys that haven't actually spotted in there, and one is Stijn de Volder and Alexander Kristoff that I haven't actually been able to pick out in that group. I would expect them to be there though.
Surely. We would have seen them. Our directors know what they're doing.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Stretched out. And it's off towards the Koppenberg. Koppenberg steeped in legend. Slopes of up to 22%, 600 super intense meters of cobble climbing. Don't lose your balance and get caught up in a crash, you'll end up walking. 5 seconds at the minute for the man in the lead, who is Damien Godin. There's Guillaume van Kerspelk. John Degenkolb just behind.
Yeah, we're looking at about 5 kilometers as well until we get to the Koppenberg, so it's a little bit of time to regroup and try and get some teammates back up there again. And seeing Geraint Thomas looking around quite desperately, trying to get some help back in there, but haven't seen many Sky riders apart from Bradley Wiggins right near the back. Oh, here we go.
They're back. They're back, and it's Luke Rowe.
Yeah, countryman coming to the rescue.
Ian Stannard there as well on the right-hand side, another hugely valuable man to have involved, and that will make Geraint Thomas feel a little better, because at the minute it's him against the world there, with Ethics Quickstep having numbers and numbers and numbers, Lotto riding so well. Bunched up at the minute. A look at the reduction in numbers of this group. Second group chasing on behind. The problem is as well, people can definitely get back together here. Once you get on the Koppenberg, though, you're out of position. You're absolutely tired out, having to spend all the energy, and you're just fighting a losing battle all the way to the end with each and every climb that comes here.
Yeah, it is a very difficult climb to do, Koppenberg, not only because it's so steep, but it's also the section after the climb itself. And there's more climbing coming, there's more cobblestones coming, and with that, you know, you find yourself out of position, and you're on the back foot for the rest of the day.
Emanuele Erviti leading this, and that looked like Greg van Avermaet to me.
It did look like
Greg van Avermaet in the second group on the road. Wow. Big news.
But getting back into it now, just because of this stalling action in the front group, they're all getting back on, but getting back on in a position where they can't really do an awful lot about it. And the problem is going to be turning right onto the Koppenberg. There is only one speed up the Koppenberg, and that is flat out. Whether that means you're riding up at a 5k an hour or a 20k an hour, flat out is what gets you up to the top of the Koppenberg. So the action is likely to happen regardless of what's...
Real interesting development, that, because we had it all kicking off there. We had all the action, and suddenly, boom, slow again. And it's all coming back together once more. We expect it to really kick off as soon as we get on. Even before then, because Andre Greipel says enough is enough. Time to make some space. Time to put somebody out there in front. Andre Greipel having a little run for it. And why not here? Because Lotto have shown that they want to attack the race, have somebody up the front at any moment they can.
And regardless of what happens, whether Greipel gets caught again, he's out here at the front here now. He can ride the Koppenberg at his pace. He gets caught and he's made the selection of the race. So it's a way for Andre Greipel. Yes, I spend some energy on the flat here now where it doesn't really hurt me too bad. Now go up the Koppenberg at the pace that I can get up it. And we'll see where I am when I get to the top there. Ideally, I'd still be in the front group or second group on the road, which means I can get back into the race and help my teammates a bit further. So very smart riding by Greipel at this point.
Brilliant riding. This is exactly how he rode this race 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderfully combative, really honouring his national champions jersey and doing a fantastic job for the team. And he's about to go onto a beast of a climb. It's the hardest in the race. It's the most feared in the Ronde De Vlanderaan, without any doubt. Andre Greipel, one of the most feared riders out there as well. Greipel putting in all the action before he even gets round the corner. And when he does get round the corner, it's going to hurt even more.
Yeah, a bit of a descent here now, and you just see he's trying to gather his breath a bit and lower the heart rate. Quick drink, and then we're on to the climb.
Oh, it was discovered in 1976. The local resident Hubert Hoffman informed the race organisers that he'd found a narrow cobble climb, 22% gradients. Can we have it in the Tour de Flanders, he said. They came and saw. They were delighted. Not too sure Jesper Skibby was delighted in 1987 when he crashed and he was ridden over almost by the commissaire's car. His feet were still locked into his bike there. Greipel onto the Koppenberg, and the Ronde hits its most famous climb for the only occasion in this 99th edition. Greipel leads them up in the German champions jersey. Here comes the peloton, fighting for position. And again, that position was already decided with those first few little movements, and then those who had the position slowed down, calmed down, didn't let anybody past. And oh dear, riders over, riders on the ground. One of the riders from Ethics Quickstep looks to be Trentin. Problem behind as well, it is Matteo Trentin. Mathieu Ladagnou is involved, and the rider from Katusha also there as well. Andre Greipel on the Koppenberg. It looks as though he's in the right position given what happened behind.
Yeah, I think he is. And then Stein de Volder on the front there as well, just riding his tempo up. Geraint Thomas in the middle of the cobbles, looking very, very strong indeed.
Thomas on the left-hand side. There is Daniel Oss as well. Luca Paolini in the right position. But at the minute, it's Andre Greipel riding straight through the centre, grinding his way, fighting with every pedal stroke against the very rough cobbles here.
Well, and this is the steepest part of the climb as well, where Greipel is on now, and the peloton are just about to hit that. Luke Rowe doing a great ride today as well for in the services of Geraint Thomas.
He's on the wheel of Geraint Thomas at the minute. Just behind him is Marcus Burkhardt. You've got Ian Stannard, the former British champion, in the red with a cross on the front. You have, of course, Martin Elmiger. We can see Stibar there. We've seen Van Avermaet towards the front. Sagan slipping a little with Luca Paolini there as well.
I think Sagan is still just riding around within himself. He doesn't look like he's in any kind of trouble there, although a little bit off the back of it, but not.
We said we'd have people walking. Mathieu Ladagnou is struggling.
Riemecki in the back wheel, that one. Broken bike.
Dear, oh dear. And the team cars are stuck behind, I know that. Marcus Burkhardt's there. And here is Van Avermaet back in the front. Chavanel is there, as is Degenkolb. Oh, and it's all sorts of problems for Klaas Lodewijk. He's had a hellish few months anyway, with 2 broken collarbones. Andre Greipel, though, what a move. You said he'd get up there first. He is going to do. Greipel to top the Koppenberg with Steen de Volder behind him. De Volder and Thomas, 2 of the riders we were talking about when we came on air this morning. And look, there is the man Stibar. Problems for Brad Wiggins. Brad Wiggins having to get off his bike as well. The Koppenberg, hellish for anybody there. Still riders up at the top, and some of the Ethics Quick-Step riders getting caught behind as well.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of riders getting caught, and this is what happens with
off his bike as well. Look at Ladagnou's just walking up. Oh, well, I'll get there in the end. And the problem is as well with the inflatable collapsing behind. The team cars are a long, long way back. It's all happening in the Ronde De Vlanderaan. There's Fran Ventoso, the man in the dark blue.
Yeah, this is why I love the classics. It's just carnage all the time.
Gatto and Bandiera both up there for Androni Giocattoli. And we saw Alexander Kristoff. Alexander Kristoff just behind as well. Cher.
Cialinghi. Matteo Tosato.
Tosato looking towards to get to the top. It's horrible. It is hellish if you're not in the right position, the right frame of mind, or if you don't have the legs. Mars is there. There is the Koppenberg. It's a case now of counting the cost of the Koppenberg, because we have seen a huge selection made here, Magnus, and that's the first sign of it. We can see at the front. Now then, this is what happened with the crash in the corner. It was Ladagnou who went down on his own and took 2 other riders with him.
Yeah, just went through it too quickly, trying to be a bit eager, and, you know, on the cobblestones it's only so quick you can ride.
Trentin was the Ethics Quick-Step rider, Dan. Ladagnou was actually fairly well placed, you know. Katusha rider who was involved was Alexei Tsartovic. Leading group, 43 Ks to go.
Yeah, smaller group catching back on there, though.
So it's counting the cost here after the Koppenberg. Next up is the Maria Borrestraat, 2 kilometres long cobbled section. Flat cobbled section. And this is the head of the race. Martin Elmiger still there. Yam having a good race today.
Yeah, Elmiger has been looking very strong, actually. And obviously, Team Sky here with Luke Rowe are very keen on keeping the pace going and keeping this selection, at least making it very hard for anyone else to get back on again. But all the main players, all the big names are still up here.
Sagan was there. Greg van Avermaet's made his way to the front now. Daniel Oss is there behind him as well. You can see Stibar there for Ethics Quick-Step. Andre Greipel's still at the front of this race too.
Yeah.
Luke Rowe, well, I remember the ride he did for Geraint Thomas in the Commonwealth Games in that awful, awful weather, riding for the Welsh team then. And he's got a big ride to do for his mate here today. 42 kilometres remain. Maria Borrestraat comes up almost immediately here now. Some of the casualties. We had walkers, we had riders on the ground. We're told that there are around 50 riders in this first group, and at 15 seconds, pardon me, another group. Looks more than 50 riders, that to me as well. Aldemar's still here. Still more selections to be made if you want to get rid of a few sprinters as well.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of moves starting to happen, and Peter Sagan putting himself near the front there now. So he's starting to look at sort of joining the bike race, if you will, because we haven't seen an awful lot of him.
Just over 40 k's remain. We've had the Koppenberg. In terms of climbs, we've got Steenbeck-Dries, no cobbles, but we've got the Teenberg after that, the Kruisberg, and then the final deadly duo again, Oude Quaremont and the Paterberg as well. Astana coming to the front, which can only mean that Lars Boom is still there. Sagan. De Vries has a big job to do. It's a bottle and a gel. Right inside you see BMC. Everybody stretched across the road again, and it's that matter of taking stock. What happens here, Magnus? Do the director sportives watching on the telly have a big role to play in getting information on the radio as well on the race situation?
Yeah, that's going to have to be the case at this point, if they can actually reach the riders with the race radio, because obviously it's only got such a long reach, and with all the problems that we've had, and obviously groups splitting up in all sorts of way now.
Chaser. We've got a chaser. It's Greipel, I think, who is chasing on at the wheel of the Yam cycling rider, who in turn was chasing Lutsenko, the Kazakhstani rider.
Chavanel and Greipel.
Lutsenko can ride as well.
Yeah.
He is a super strong rider for Astana. They've got to chase quickly here. So Chavanel and Greipel. Lutsenko should be somewhere ahead of them on the road. Anybody's Tour de Flanders still. There is Lutsenko. Maria Borrestraat, 2 kilometers of cobbles. What's this section like, Magnus?
Actually quite tough in the end. It goes ever so slightly uphill all the time, and at certain points it's quite bad cobblestones on it as well. So there's certainly enough there to use if you want to put the hurt on someone.
Another obstacle out the way. Back to the peloton. Ian Stannard trying to put some control on things, but how far do you control this? 27 seconds for Lutsenko, pardon me, with Greipel and Chavanel chasing behind.
Yeah, I think it's still far enough to go. The 27 seconds isn't really a big problem, and I think that the more controlled it stays for the longer, the better it's going to be for certainly a couple of the faster men in this group. I'm thinking that for someone like Geraint Thomas, they want to make it extremely hard from now on, all the way into the finish.
Well, they've got sprinters to get rid of. They've got to get rid of Sagan, the likes of Christoph as well. Lutsenko's trying to do that and trying to help out Lars Bohm from distance. Lutsenko is putting the pace on and really stretching the race here. 38 k's to go. Remember, an open race today without doubt. De Vlnder was still in there when we last looked at it. The only man, as if he won, would stop us having a brand new winner today. No other previous winners on the start sheet. Here's Stannard on the right-hand side. No British winner of the Ronde De Vlanderaan since Tom Simpson in 1961. Belgians, well, 68 of them.
Wow.
Vondenberg on the left-hand side. Will he feel it's his day? I tell you, are looking good as well, Magnus. Giant Alpecin, 3 men. And one of them at the back there, sprinter John Degenkolb. It's going to plan for them so far.
Yeah, they're going really well so far, and Nicky Terpstra up there as well for Ethics Quickstep, being looked after very well. It's still a wide open race.
Just a cobbled corner there, as the work behind has been done well to bring in both Chavanel and Greipel. More tractors, more farmers' protests. All in a day in Flanders. Greipel still pushing on despite the fact that he knows that the peloton are right on his wheel. 28 seconds for Lutsenko at the minute. Really good push out from him. And here is Lutsenko on the next climb. Lutsenko looks to be on the Diamberg there to me. Let's have a look. And it is the Diamberg.
Yeah.
15.8% maximum, 6.6% average. No Tom Bonen, so no Bonenberg today. Alexei Lutsenko trying to make it his own. Now a push on from behind. Marcato it looks to be.
Yeah, and Jack Bauer there as well.
Jack Bauer, second wheel. He's the man in the green and black. Lutsenko there, and they're pushing on and behind. Here we go with Etix Quickstep.
That's Nicky Terpstra.
Nicky Terpstra, and this is dangerous.
Yeah.
This is really dangerous here because Terpstra's making his move. Etix Quickstep have been quiet, nobody up ahead, and Nicky Terpstra goes, meaning that surely people must react now.
Well, they've got to start reacting, yeah, and how do you do that, though, is the biggest question. Do you just wait for someone like Geraint Thomas is playing it very, very cool with, he's just letting everyone else take it. He doesn't step out and try and ride up to Terpstra and show him that I got the legs to do this. As we just saw Tyler Farrar being distanced up the back there.
Tyler Farrar off the back, as you can see. It's Terpstra just eases up as he's caught. First little stretch of the legs. No Bonen. But Terpstra having his go.
Was that just a bit of a test to see what how the legs responded, or was that an actual legitimate attack?
Well, normally Tornado Tom tests his legs here.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've been having conversations this morning.
They very well have been.
So the Diamberg out the way, and now it's time to move with Van Avermaet.
Yeah, that's definitely a move.
Van Avermaet really giving a good dig here. Of course, he's a fast man, but remember, he was beaten in the sprint by Fabian Cancellara, so he can't always rely on it himself. Oh, there's a little coming together as he tried to burst through as well.
Well, I think Luke Rowe just tried to anticipate the move from Van Avermaet and got caught up against the barriers and just managed to keep himself upright. But look at this group.
So, a really interesting group. Luke Rowe is involved. Stibar is there as well.
Yep.
Van Avermaet. This race is now really going.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's a response coming from Yam Cycling.
Yam Cycling trying to push on, and push on again. Thomas is doing a little bit of chasing as well.
Oh, he's having to follow that one because he's got too many of the favourites up near the front here now. Few riders being put in a position where they're hesitating now.
Rowe says, come on, you've got to come and do your work. Looks as though it's all ready to come back together again. So make your move if you want to make your move and you want to be involved right now, I think.
Yeah, Peter Sagan is having to make the move there as well. He's right in between the two groups in the white.
No teammates left as well for Peter Sagan. No teammates left for Sagan.
And Greipel is trying to follow that group as well. This is a dangerous move now. This could split the two groups up quite dramatically. Luke Rowe still in favour of, just towing Geraint Thomas around and doing a great job at that. Maybe doing it a bit too much work. I think Geraint would like to just, if I was here, Geraint, I would tell Luke to just back off a bit and let some of the other guys do some of the work and save your legs and try and tow me into a position for one of the later climbs instead. Or even try and follow the moves yourself and see if we can have two guys in the final.
So, play those tactical cards right now. 5 seconds the gap at the minute. 43 there is Laurens de Vries in the light blue. Laurens de Vries, and here comes Nicky Terpstra.
Well, he had to respond, didn't he?
Nicky Terpstra going. Andre Greipel at the front of this group again. What a ride today from Andre Greipel, whatever happens.
Well, and Greipel has obviously ridden straight through that group to seeing exactly who's in it and who's not in it, and probably spotted that not very well represented by any of the Etix Quickstep riders.
No. Trying to distance their big Belgian rivals, of course, at home. Lutsenko's move is over. 35 k's to go, and it's all back together once more. Who's going to be the next to go, Magnus?
Well, I don't think we're going to see a move now until the next climb, really. This is more a question of keeping the pressure on there, making Nicky Terpstra work really hard to get back in.
Nicky Terpstra then having to work. Pipo Pozzato is there as well. He's been going well this year as Pozzato. Little dip in form recently, but if he's there or thereabouts at the end, he's a danger man. He knows what to do in this race.
And the good thing is, for him, well, if you were him, we haven't actually seen him yet. and that means that he's been hiding very well in the group and not really making any efforts unless he's had to. And yeah,
Pipo Pozzato, well, contract year, he needs something.
Jack Bauer just been distanced.
Hasn't had a win since 2013, Pozzato.
We still haven't seen Paolini or Christoph really.
No. Now then, attacks coming from behind again to try and join this one.
Yeah, and Thomas following that. That's Lars Boom.
Again, big man, he's got to follow. Danielos in the meantime, and in turn following Geraint Thomas.
Too early for Geraint Thomas though to start following move and start dipping around like that. 34 kilometers to go.
Is that not Luke Rowe's job for the minute?
It should be. It should be, or at least just let the other favourites also take those kind of attacks. And you know, there's enough of them, enough riders in there who are keen to make sure that no one or none of the favourites are going away.
Again, Astana really want to make it difficult here. Van Avermaet is the man to follow. Again, he's another man who should be perhaps saving a little bit of energy, given the fact that he's got teammates in and around. Yeah,
definitely. And Luke Rowe back out of that one because there's enough Lotto Soudal riders in that group there to let them take this one instead.
Oliveira is the Portuguese champion, third wheel. Rides for Lampre Merida. Team, of course, of Pipo Pozzato, who were mentioned a moment ago. Italian team, 33 Ks to go now. We've had the Steenbeek Dries, we've had the Teyenberg. Next up is the Kreuzberg. Go through Newkerke first. Steen de Volder just takes on some fuel.
It's another rider that we haven't seen an awful lot of as well, so he's very much saving his energy for an assault on the Eau de Quarmont, the final time maybe.
32 kilometres remain. Ronde De Vlanderaan, the 99th edition. Chance to push out in front for Lutsenko. Oliveira just behind him, wearing that Portuguese national jersey with pride for Lampre Merida. Greg Van Avermaet just hanging on the wheel. Astana then, wanting to be very, very active here. They weren't the first team on everybody's lips when we turned up today. Yes, of course, They do have Lars Boom, but apart from that, they're not one of the stronger teams out there in terms of names on paper, but it doesn't always work out that way, does it?
No, it doesn't, and they've been riding smart so far, and, you know, Lars Boom looks like he's actually riding well here.
So Lars Boom hoping to become the first Dutchman in 29 years. Adrie van der Poel was the last. And this now is Luke Rowe. Andre Greipel still there for Roulants, still there for Lotto. Big casualty. Oh, there's one left. That looked like Christoph as well to me.
Certainly did.
The way he was hanging over his bars, we didn't get a very good look. Well, if Christoph is there, no wonder Paolini is just hanging around and waiting at the minute.
Yeah, he's just hoping that all the other teams are going to tow him back into the race again. And that's a pretty standard Paolini tactics. Even if he's out of the race, he'll just chill out near the back here and then hope that the rest of the guys in this group are keen enough to sort of chase and get him back into the bike race, at which point he's still reasonably fresh.
Well, de Bussera and the House of the two national champions also aren't going to chase here because they've got their representation further up in the front group. It's all about how those who've missed out, who feel they need more strength in the front group, to bring it back together. At the minute, this is Luke Rowe, running a really good race for Geraint Thomas, his big mate from Wales. Inside 30 Ks to go now. Van Avermaet's been active as well. Peter Sagan waits and waits and waits. He's been hiding. There's a rumour that Bjarne Riis is actually here today. Not associated at the minute with Tinkoff Saxo after his relieved of his duties last week. It's been a right old mess in their sort of setup, but I think Oleg Tinkov, if Sagan won this, would feel pretty good about himself, whatever happened.
Yeah, I certainly think so. But yeah, the rumours are that Bjarne is here somewhere and hovering around, not with any other team though, either.
1-3-1. Alexander Kristoff, the back of this group, is there. Nelson Oliveira then. This is Nelson Oliveira, the man who's been out there with Lutsenko. Trying to make things as hard as possible as well for Pipo Pozzato, who looks to be going okay in this group. And again, as you said, he's hidden well, he's looked good. On to the Kreuzberg. Maximum of 9% here. Nelson Oliveira turning into a really, really good riding domestique for Lampre.
Pozzato just moving up a little bit further in the group there on the right-hand side in the pink.
Oh, mechanical problems for Bjorn Løkemans. Mechanical problems for Løkemans and disaster for Wanty Group Gobel. On the Kreuzberg, just before he hit the cobbles, and Løkemans down and out, I'm afraid. He's going to have to wait for that next group on the road if he can get his mechanical problems sorted then. But as well, does he have a car about to sort it for him? That's the problem. In the meantime, Marco Marcato is struggling to be, well, looked to have been distant, struggling to get back on at the minute. All happening here. Thomas second win. Look at Stibar, looking good.
Yeah, looking very good. Kristoff as well, though, just riding around near the back there, just keeping out of everyone's mind, really. Not showing that he's still there, and or at least showing that he's still going strong.
Same with Stein De Vlnder as well.
Yeah.
De Vlnder, though, you feel, would have to make some sort of move at some point.
Luke Rowe looked like he was struggling a bit to hold the pace there now.
Done a lot of work. Thomas is up to the front now, looking very strong. Lars Bohm on the left-hand side in the light blue, the Dutchman, as Pipo Pozzato in the pink and dark blue moves up onto the wheel of Stibar. In the meantime, for BMC, it's a chance to put the pace on again.
Yeah, Pozzato is looking remarkably fresh in that group.
Greipel hangs on still. Elmiger's still there. Chavanel in the middle of this group somewhere, to the top of the Kreuzberg, and Lotto putting on the pace. A lot of looking around at the minute as well. The riders just taking stock of who's here.
Yeah, who's there,
what they've got to do.
What they look like. They look like they're suffering, or are they still looking very relatively fresh?
Well, either Pozzato's got a really good poker face, or he's not suffering at all, and he's just sent Oliveira out the front to push again. And here comes Terp, so that's going to drag everyone along. Kristoff knows that, and Kristoff is trying to stay on the wheel. Here comes Alexander Kristoff. So right on the wheel of Nicky Terp. Remember, he rode away from everybody at Paris-Roubaix last year. To the top of the Kreuzberg, and this is Terpstra.
Yeah, definitely. Terpstra did the textbook attack last year in the Paris-Roubaix, getting clear and winning that solo.
Is this for Marca?
It looks like for Marca to me. It looks like his riding style.
Except for Marca just gesturing for the motorbike to come around him. I don't think that's going to happen. Gets behind the car for a minute. I wouldn't do that either as well, given the form today, Sepp.
Yeah, still well clear of blue cars.
Sepp for Marca then knows that he's got a gap to close. It looks as though the chances are gone. Obviously can't leave it any late. What has he got in the tank? This is a huge ask for Sepp for Marca today. Trying to come out of that group behind, trying to make the gap to the group in front, and perhaps time's just running out for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big move, and the question is, has he got anything left then to respond with if he gets himself into that front group again? He's certainly closing to them.
$27 Ks to go. We've had the Kreuzberg now. All that remains in terms of climbs, Ol de Quaremont in 10 kilometres time. Paterberg straight after that, and the last 13 Ks into Oldenarder itself. Yeah. And he's not far off making that group as well.
He's not. We've just got this bit of a climb up through the woods here, then down onto the main road, through the pop-up banner obstacle. and then back onto the descent down towards Ronde De Vlanderaan.
Nicky Terpstra, who had a stellar 2014, winning Ronde De Vlanderaan in impressive fashion, finishing second in Edri Harelbeke, then taking Paris-Roubaix, leading at the minute with the man who's having a stellar 2015, Alexander Kristoff. But look behind, there is danger ahoy, because Sepp van Marke looks as though he's going to make it onto this front group. Time in the next 10Ks, perhaps, to find some sort of respite before the Ronde De Vlanderaan again. Yeah,
but he needs to get back onto this group now very quickly before they start getting onto the flat and descending as well, because the group will ride faster on than one lone rider, and Van Marke looks spent. I don't think he's going to make it.
Van Marke struggling now. Hands down on the bars. Can he find some sort of extra effort? It's his last big chance to do something in this race. Meanwhile, motoring is Nicky Terpstra with Kristoff on his wheel.
Yeah, this is a dangerous move, and be good to see now who's on the front in the peloton. It's got to be Lotto, Lampre, and
Sky.
Luke Rowe.
Luke Rowe there, second wheel just behind Nelson Oliveira.
I think they should have a quick chat with BMC and Yam Cycling as well.
Get everybody involved, because they've all got teammates, they've all got riders that they can sacrifice for the common good of bringing this back together, because as we've seen, Nicky Terpstra, always a dangerous man.
Well, and
as is Kristoff.
With Kristoff as well, and the way he's been going recently.
Kristoff finished as well in the top 5 in the last 2 editions of this great race as well. It's not just his recent form in
no, far from it.
Of course, he was the first ever rider in the 39-year-long history of the 3 days of the Banner to win 3 consecutive stages. He beat Greipel in that really close photo finish on Thursday morning. Third in the time trial, and of course then the overall as well in the Banner.
18-second gap we're hearing on the race radio.
18 seconds then for Alexander Kristoff and Nicky Terpstra, working hard together for the common good. Behind, the riders need to get organised, and very quickly indeed. Ronde De Vlanderaan and Paterberg to come, but they've got to bring this back together before that happens.
Well, they definitely do, but I think the BMC need to put a rider up there as well quite quickly now. And has Giant Alpecin got anything?
Well, Marcus Burghardt towards the back. Jan Alpecin, of course, want to make sure that they get Degenkolb in position. This is an extremely dangerous move at the minute, with Kristoff giving his all, Terpstra doing the same, and they're inside 25Ks to go. Such an open Ronde De Vlanderaan. And these 2 guys, 2 of the favourites, though. Kristoff really giving it his all. You see, mouth open, teeth gritted, effort face on. Terpstra, not always the most popular man in the team, not always have the whole support of the team, but Ethics Quickstep know they need another win just to settle things down.
Astana should also think about joining this chase a bit.
Shake of the head from Greipel. He knows that more people are needed to commit to this.
Well, Greipel, he's definitely given everything that he's got. He tends to start shaking his head when he's going flat out.
Well, fair play to Lampre Merida, because they're by far and away not the most numerous team in terms of riders in this group, but they've committed Oliveira straight from the start, really.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
This is the group on the road behind. A few riders sitting up behind as well now. This is the lead of the race. Terpstra and Kristoff heading towards the Ronde De Vlanderaan. Final time of the day that they'll climb. One of the most representative climbs in this brilliant Ronde van Vlaanderen. So many people stood up there waiting for the action to happen. And we know you are at home wherever you're watching as well. Remember, get in touch with us. Hashtag Magnus Backstedt on Twitter, hashtag, or at Rob Hatch TV, at Magnus Backstedt, pardon me. Who's going to win? Will these guys bring it back? De Volder, Stibar, Roulants, Benutez there, Greipel, Boom, De Vries, Lutsenko, 3 for Astana, who finally come to the front to start riding. Drucker, Os, Burkhardt and Van Avermaet. 4 from BMC, with Devenijns, Elmiger, Pozzato and Oliveira. De Kort, Whitens, Degenkolb and Kukulera, so 3 from Giant. Rowan Thomas, the 2 from Sky, with Sagan and Marcato completing the group here. Quite a few teams. BMC with 4 riders. Why have they not been committing more resources?
Well, that is a question that I would like answered as well, because, you know, the two leaders up front at 29 seconds now, they're still going faster than this group. And, you know, if you got anything left, then you need to throw the kitchen sink at this.
Just over 20 kilometres remain. I think the same could be said as well for Giant Alpecin. They need to put a rider up there. They've got 3 in the group.
Yeah, they need to.
Christoph flicks his arm. Terpstra is going to come and ride through. 2 of the strongest guys out there on the road today. And if 2 are going to ride away, these 2 would be a pretty good bet.
Well, definitely. And they're very committed to the whole cause as well. And I think Terpstra is still very confident that he'll be able to shake off Christoph on the final climb and maybe go on his own, as we got now BMC finally coming up and doing a bit of a turn.
Jempe Drucker from Luxembourg out there in the skin suit to do the work. Greipel comes and rolls through, as does Oliveira, and despite the fact that more teams are committing resources, the gap goes up to 30 seconds now. Christoph on the right-hand side, he hurts himself so much, and he's so good at hurting himself. That's the key to being a bike rider in these sorts of races.
It certainly is, and it seems like the longer the races are, the harder they are, the better he goes. He has said in the past that he likes the longer races as well, so this is definitely, as finally we got Giant Alpecin coming in there. Watch out, Geraint Thomas on the wheel of Luke Rowe, and then...
The Ronde De Vlanderaan is perfect for Geraint Thomas, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it is definitely. But we've got Stibar in there as well, so if Stibar manages to follow someone like Geraint Thomas, if he makes a move, then all of a sudden there's 2 Ethics Quick-Step riders up in the front, and not just any Quick-Step riders either.
On to the Ronde De Vlanderaan for the final time in this 2015 de Ronde van Vlaanderen. Listen to this. Christoph there, chasing behind on the peloton as they come to the lower slopes now. Not quite hit the cobbles yet, but it's Luke Rowe. And now, here we go with Christoph. Terpstra on his wheel just behind. 2.2 kilometres of pure pain. 3rd and final time up this climb. It's the most used climb in the race nowadays. And you can see why. So. You can see why. It really does separate those who have legs from those who don't. Time to salute Andre Greipel, I think. He's off the back at the minute. What a ride from him today. In the meantime, 23 seconds is the gap between the 2 groups. And to me, and to my mind, it's coming down quite quickly.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it looks like the pressure is on in the front of that group.
It's all happening behind. In the meantime, they get to the most populated part of the climb. There's a little crossroads up here. You've got all the VIP tents as well. There'll be a few bits of beer and frites gone down as well, and Christoph is going to get...
Thomas and Stibar is going clear.
Thomas gives it a right go. Right when the cameras were looking away as well. Thomas, Stibar following him, and it's all broken up behind. There's Nelson Oliveira. Luke Rowe's done his job for the day, so he comes to the back as well. And here we go. Geraint Thomas at the front for Sky. Stibar following, 2 BMC riders there with Oss as well. Daniel Oss was there too.
That was also Van Avermaet from BMC.
Terpstra realising that he has to put the pace. These 2 have got to keep working together now. Oh, it's all kicking off in the Ronde. Welsh flag flies right in the front of the face of Geraint Thomas. Great job this from Daniel Oss behind for Greg Van Avermaet. Pozzato still on the wheel. This group's not out of it yet. Sagan is there as well.
Far from over.
BMC using their resources, using their numbers. Nicky Terpstra, though, putting in a real ride. Flatter part of the climb is where that crossroads is.
And obviously Geraint Thomas is going to have to do all the work to close those guys down there, because Stibar is not going to do any real turns until at least they got a good clear gap on the group behind them, and he sees that we're actually bridging this gap, at which point I think he would be in Stibar's and Anetti's Quickstep's interest to actually get 2 riders in that front group against a Christoph and a Thomas.
They get some tactical options, of course. Terpstra and Christoph still the front of the race. We've got the old crazy fan still there, but I get out the way because it's moving quick behind as we get to the top of the Ronde De Vlanderaan. Terpstra is going to lead the 99th Ronde De Vlanderaan over the top of the Quaremont for the final time, and only the Paterberg remains.
And obviously Geraint Thomas wants to be a bit careful as well, and he doesn't get close to these 2 guys and not be able to bridge it, and then get Stanik Stibar to effectively attack him and bridge it on his own.
Lots of tactical possibilities here. It's a real chess match as well as a battle of strength and power on the climbs. I wish that bloke could get out of the way because he's going to come to some sort of grief. We've had enough of that today.
Oh, here we go. Here comes the rest of the group.
So Geraint Thomas there, and here comes Lars Bohm. Sagan is on his wheel. Sagan is on his wheel.
Degenkolb is there.
Degenkolb's there. We've seen the first weakness of People Pozzato throughout the day. Roulons towards the back as well. Basque fans now there as this group once again comes together at the top.
No one really dares to make the move and to start riding. There's too many riders. There's still 2 Lotto Soudal riders in there as well. They need to get on the front and start working out what's going to happen, because these guys are going out again.
These guys going out again, only the Paterberg to go, and of course there's not enough time really on the Paterberg to make too much of a huge difference in terms of clawing 20 seconds back. Yes, you'll have 1 or 2 riders who are going to stand still, are going to run out of energy completely, but it's only 350 metres long, Magnus.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the gap is extending again up to 19 seconds as no one's really wanting to take that turn. Lars Boom looks like he's making a move on the left-hand side of the picture.
Thomas looking around, of course, but somebody has to make a move from somewhere. Thomas decides that it's now or never, and he's got to sacrifice something. He's going to chase the move that's been put down by Lars Boom, who also wants to be involved here. Oss is the man at the back. Just in front of him is Ties Benoot, who's put in a fantastic ride as well for Lotto. Really well done from him. 27 seconds, pardon me. Wow. So, Elmiger. No teammates up there now for Elmiger. All on his own. Hausler and Chavanel both fallen by the wayside. De Volder on the left-hand side, and here goes Van Avermaet. BMC had to do something because they're the riders with 2 men in this group. It's Greg Van Avermaet who attacks. 26 seconds though still. You've got that long, well, short, fast technical descent, I should say, rather me, going in towards the Paterberg. There's Stibar on the right-hand side. He is, of course, not going to do any work to try and bring this together until, as Magnus was saying, the gap gets too small that it becomes an advantage to do so. This is what we have going towards the Paterberg. And it's coming up very, very quickly here.
Yeah, it
right
does.
at the bottom of this road.
Very much a descent straight into the bottom of the climb. And looking at the 28 seconds now again, and these guys are slowly but surely getting to the point where I'm thinking the winner is going to come out of these 2 riders.
Well, after the Paterberg, short, steep, decisive, it's all downhill or flat to Oudenaarde.
Also on the front now.
Oss doing his work then with 29 seconds still to make up.
Are we going to see Peter Sagan make a move at some point, though? Because he's been very much, should we call it, present by his absence so far.
We haven't seen him doing it. Well, he hasn't had the wind in his face at all day.
No, he certainly hasn't, and that's what I'm expecting. He needs to do a move at some point now and really put a big attack in. And if anyone can go up the Patersburg that extra bit faster, then it is Peter Sagan.
What's going to happen with these 2 as well? Because if these 2 stay together, Nicky Terpstra is not going to wait for Christoph to come to the line with him, surely.
No, he can't. He can't. He's got to attack him. And at that point, it becomes a cat and mouse story up front as well, because obviously they don't want to slow it down, because these guys are, you know, if they start playing around with tactical games near the front, we're talking about a kilometre, and these guys have brought them back again. Maybe even less than that.
Well, a few of you writing in from Australia wondering where Orica Green Edge are, wondering where Heinrich Hausler is. They've been lost into the second group. Up towards the Paterberg, the people line the slopes of the very, very steep slope. Big pump of the fist there towards Nicky Terpstra. Here we go. Paterberg time for the final time. It's Christoph that leaves them on, and it's Terpstra who's behind on the wheel in a perfect position to attack if he can.
Yeah, definitely. Christoph is looking okay on this lower slopes, though. It's not until about halfway when it really kicks up steep, so he wants to save a bit for that final bit. Remember last year, Christoph got distance on the final sort of 50 to 100 meters over the top of the Patersberg, and that's what left him behind.
So, Christoph still there. Terpstra perfectly placed. It's 20.3% maximum gradient, and they're about to hit it now as Oss leads the chasers on behind as well. De Vlnder trying to hang on with Elmiger at the back.
Yeah, De Vlnder not looking quite as good as I thought he was going to go this in this ronde, but...
Oh, the flags, the freaks, the beer, the people, they're all here. It's Paterberg time, and Terpstra can't hold the wheel. Look at this. It's Christoph, if anything, who's stronger than Terpstra. This is incredible at the top. Yeah, it definitely is. As Greg van Avermaet is putting in a big move on the Patersberg as well, and Stennik Stibo is managing to follow. Geraint Thomas is really having to dig deep, having done so much work on the Ronde De Vlanderaan. Oh, there's life in this race yet as Van Avermaet is pushing up behind. Nobody can hold his wheel. Greg van Avermaet really powering up the Paterberg. Thomas on the left-hand side, Potsdata being left behind, and here comes Sagan now. Sagan turning on the pace as well. Yeah. Can they catch him? Sagan really motoring. Sagan is going, he's in front of Geraint Thomas. At the minute, though, it's Van Avermaet who's going to come up and below. Well, we need a time gap. We need an accurate time gap at the top. We do, but look at this one, though. Thomas... Degenkolb's behind him as well. Degenkolb is in there. Lars Boomers is ridden up to them as well. There's still racing to be done here. All depends on how it's going to play out up front. Well, it needs to be selected down to a very small number of riders. 3-4 guys that really have an opportunity to ride. This Sagan is a good move. Here. Sagan away with Greg van Avermaet. It says 20 seconds, I'm not sure. We shall wait and see. Yeah, definitely. But if that trio of riders with Stibar, Thomas and Degenkolb can get working together, catch up with... with Sagan and Van Avermaet, then that quintet would be a really strong group to try and bring the two riders back as well, because they're all the individual riders and they're all looking to win the bike race. And if anyone, for Peter Sagan, for Jon Degenkolb, that would be brilliant. They got to work to try and bring themselves into a position where they can use their sprint. So even if they have to use some energy, if they don't do it, then they're not going to be able to sprint for the win. If they do it, then obviously they're going to end up in a position where they might take in the edge off their sprint. Christoph, trusting himself at the minute, still working hard. 16 seconds. I'm sure it looked closer than the 20 we were seeing. How can they chase on behind? That's the question. And is there any organisation in this group? Well, Lars Boom has made it up to Geraint Thomas and those guys as well. So that's probably a good group of about 7-8 now. So it is all happening. Still racing after the cobbles, after the climbs. This is the Tour de Flanders. It's been a wonderful day out there. Yes, it took its time to get to the Boyle today, but we've got a right race towards the end now. Yeah, we certainly do. And what an interesting one this is going to be. We've got one of the fastest sprinters in the world against one of the hardest riding riders guys in the world as well. So at what point is Terpstra going to have a go? Because he can't take Christoph into the line. He's in that point riding for second. Ethics Quickstep for another year involved. So the time's back to Group 3, 25 seconds. 17 between the two groups on your screen. The left ahead of the race as Bohm again tries to ride away and to join that group with Sagan and Van Avermaet. Looking to join him is Stibar. It's all come back together again. Organisation. Is there any organisation? Don't count anybody out in these groups yet. No, it's too big a group, I think. Again, they're all looking at each other. There's the odd man who's got one or more teammates in there. 18 seconds. Terpstra lets Christoph come through again. A little bit of a word there and a little bit of look as well while they're at it. Terpstra on the left-hand side. It's Christoph who's going to move through on the road into Oudenaarde. 10 kilometres to go in Ronde De Vlanderaan. 18 seconds ahead of Van Avermaet and Sagan. Both fast men. Thomas now, trying to find something from somewhere. Sky controlled it for so long today. Do you think they could have done anything different? Should they have made it harder at different times?
They should have made it harder earlier on, I think, to try and split up the peloton and try and select the group when they had the numbers available to them. But they kind of messed that up a little bit coming into the Eau de Quiremont for the second time there, when they lost position going into the bottom of the climb. At that point, they only had Ian Stannard and Luke Rowe left. So this right now is all playing in the hands of the guys out front.
They've got to get organised. They've got to move quick. Sagan is there. Van Avermaet behind on his wheel. Well, Sagan looks committed here. Again, flicks the elbow.
Definitely is committed, and you know that you're going to get a turn from Greg Van Avermaet. He's one of these guys who doesn't shy away from taking his turn, and you can still count on him being very dangerous in a sprint.
9 Ks to go. 16 seconds now. The gap reportedly coming down a little. Terpstra's there. Christoph is there. Is there going to be a moment where these two find they've just emptied the tank?
Well, I think the moment is going to come where Nicky Terpstra has to make the move on Christoph, and then what's going to happen after that? Because if they stall for the slightest split second, you've got the two riders there just waiting to catch on, and then obviously the group behind it as well. So a lot of tactical games to play in the final 8-9 kilometers here now.
Peter Sagan, 25 now, a year older than when Tom Bonen first won Ronde De Vlanderaan for the first time, 2005. It is his time. 15 seconds still to close down. It's been a horrible, horrible time of it in Tinkoff Saxo colours.
Nicky Terpstra starting to get a bit hesitant to take his turn and just sitting on the wheel that fraction longer.
And as well, perhaps starting to tell the story and contributing as to why that gap had come down by 3 or 4 seconds there.
Could be.
One of the reasons as we come through Kerkhove.
We're effectively on the finishing straight.
Long straight road, isn't it, to Oudenaarde? Long straight road, a long way from that last line. 13 Ks. Sagan, look at that face. Look at that effort face from Peter Sagan. He is hurting there.
Well, there's not often you see that kind of a face being pulled by that man, that's for sure.
Well, he's normally got one of the best poker faces around as Peter Sagan, but he is mouth wide open, hurting, almost screaming into thin air. Now then, the chase.
Geraint Thomas not getting any help at all. Every time he moves aside, he gets an attack on himself, and with that just ends up on the back foot all the time.
I think that was Roulance leading them out from behind, but we'll wait to get confirmation. Sagan is there, Van Avermaet behind, still they work hard. There's that same little bit of obstacle. You can see the guy who was flagging up the obstacle gave him a good shout. Come on, guys, let's get back on.
Terpstra starting to sit on already. That's a dangerous, dangerous game.
Here goes Terpstra, looks around, a little conversation again. Oh, Christoph's a smart cookie. He's not going to let Terpstra play games with him here.
No, definitely not. But then again, they can't afford to sit up either because of what's coming behind them.
17 seconds on a straight road. Van Avermaet and Sagan chasing behind a group of riders who cannot get organised. It's Benoot at the front.
Well, Lotto Soudal now putting all their eggs in one basket to try and bring this back.
Oh. If Tissa Benoot can bring this back, then he will be a hero.
Yeah.
Certainly if Jurgen Roulance goes through and takes the win. 6.6 Ks remain. 18 seconds, the gap still holding.
Yeah, this is an interesting scenario with Christoph and Terpstra.
And they're getting towards the point now, and to get in the final 5 Ks or so, then they really are going to play cat and mouse. Certainly, as far as Terpstra's concerned.
You can see Terpstra, they're going on to the radio. What do I do? What do I do? Tell me, like, give me some tactical options here, because at this point, when they're going this deep, you know, brain isn't functioning quite the way you want it to be, and you know, you've got someone with a clear mind and also knows exactly all the time gaps sitting in a team car, and they will be telling him now exactly what they think he should be doing. And then it's a question whether he can maneuver things into the right position to follow those options given to him.
It's age 24 seconds here. Sagan is there, chasing again from behind is Martin Elmiger. A dash for the podium maybe. De Volder's there, Stibar's going to sit on and chase. And here goes Geraint Thomas, and the rest follow as well. It's going to push on and on and on like that from behind because, again, as you say, just too many people.
Yeah, too many people in a couple of teams with numerous riders in there as well, and everyone seems to be staring themselves blind on who was this morning the outright favourite to win, is Geraint Thomas. And I think Geraint has probably taken on a bit too much workload. It's shown that he was willing to work a lot from a relatively early point. And with Sky also taking over, dictating the whole race, it's kind of showed everyone that they're here to win. And with that, they're riding on him and against him in every way possible, which puts Geraint in a position where he can't actually win the bike race.
Christoph again takes his turn. It's playing right into his hands at the minute. He won Milan-San Remo last year, the only Norwegian to ever win a monument race. Third in Depana in the final time trial, won the overall. Finished in the top 5 in the last 2 editions of this brilliant race.
Oh, here we go. Bit of cat and mouse.
So, 5 Ks to go. Look around. What do you do, Nicky? What do you do?
Well, the thing is, though, that Nicky's going to have to surprise Alexander Kristoff in a big way, because even Nicky accelerating from behind him with Kristoff's sprint, he'll take 1, maybe 2 pedal strokes and he'll be straight onto the back wheel. And certainly if he realises now that this is going to be Nicky Terpstra's plan, then he's aware of it and he'll react straight away, and Terpstra won't get anywhere with him.
Terpstra, who won Paris-Roubaix last year. Kristoff, who has 9 wins already this season. Nobody in professional cycling has won more than Alexander Kristoff this year. And 9 of 13 wins in the team. 3/4 of the wins taken by Kristoff. It's an incredible number.
Yeah, you want to watch out here, though, that Kristoff now doesn't just put one on Nicky Terpstra, because that's
he's strong enough as well.
That's the last thing that Terpstra would be expecting, is an attack by Kristoff.
And we saw in the time trial the other day that he's strong enough to ride away. And we've seen it on the Paterberg as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He's surely looking the stronger of the two on the road at the minute.
I'm not sure about those 27 seconds, though, because it looks like Peter Sagan and Geraint van Avermaet are coming closer.
A little look back down the road. Benoot is in there. There's Bohm in the light blue, the Dutch rider for Astana, the Kazakhstani team. 4 kilometres to go for Kristoff and Terpstra now. It's building up, it's building up. We're going to have the crescendo very soon. It says 24 seconds. We'd love to get a little glimpse of Sagan and Van Avermaet as the second group on the road. Wherever you're watching in the world, I know some of you are watching very late in Australia and New Zealand. Stay with us, stay up. This is absolutely massive. Here is Van Avermaet, here is Sagan. 22 seconds now. Terpstra in the blue, white and black at the back. Kristoff, the Norwegian, in the white, red and blue of Katusha, the Russian team. Kristoff is a huge unit on a bike. Really grinds that massive gear. It's quite a unique style he has among the pro peloton at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. The thing is, most riders are pedaling that much smaller gear in a higher cadence, but Kristoff is just going on brute strength at the moment.
Kristoff on the left-hand side, 20 seconds now. 19, it starts to fall again, and as we get towards 3 kilometres, that's when they'll start to play with each other a little more.
Well, I think all the way in towards the finish now is going to be a question of more and more cat and mouse tactical games. I'm not going to come through. I'm going to save it a bit. These guys, you can see the 2 riders just going under the 3 kilometre to go banner there.
A couple of 100 metres behind,
they got them in their sights.
It's Kristoff, who said he wasn't sure about whether he would have the legs this weekend. He said he hoped he would. He hoped he'd hold from Depana. Don't think there was any doubt, was there? 17 seconds. Whoever has a stopwatch, stop it now. Let's get a proper check. Listen to this. Big shouts for Nicky. Terpstra, of course, the first Dutchman, if he does this, to win in 29 years.
Nicky's just shaking his head here now at Kristoff. Kristoff wants him to come around, but Nicky's just sitting up, waiting, not going through. That is too early.
And the last couple of turns that he's done as well for me have been sort of soft turns, if you like. Hasn't really committed. He's trying to save energy, all right. In the meantime, behind, they're certainly committing. Bohm is there as well. Lars Bohm pushing on. Or is he? No, pardon me, he's been left behind. He's been left behind. Well, Terpstra and Christoph. Christoph still at the front, Terpstra behind 16 seconds, they say. A little move over to the left, an attempt to get Terpstra to come through. Not taking his turn.
Well, Terpstra needs to come through. It's 2 kilometres to go.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's Steen van den Berg. That's well behind in the second group, but Steen van den Berg has hit the deck. Not involved towards the end this year. And this is... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
It's a giant Alpecin rider that just dropped his wheel off the edge of the road and then managed to save it, but obviously took Van den Berg out.
Alexander Christoph inside the last 2 kilometres.
Are we going to see an attack from Terpstra, or is he going to put his faith in a sprint?
It's big faith to beat Alexander Christoph, who just does his shoes up, gets ready for a sprint. Yeah. Surely Terpstra cannot, without at least having one attempt, trust his sprint against the likes of Christoph.
The thing is, though, I think if he makes a move here now, then Christoph is going to get on his wheel, if he's got the legs to, obviously. And I think Christoph won't move then. And at that point, it becomes very much a question for Nicky Terpstra to ride for second place and actually save something for Omega Pharma Quickstep.
Lars Bohm getting back on it. Looks as though he's going to try and ride straight to the front and go through again. We shall see. The meantime, behind, 15 seconds it says now. Approaching the last kilometre here, though. It's going to be these two, unless they are pretty stupid inside the final kilometre.
Yeah. But I've seen stranger things happen in bike racing.
A look behind from Christoph. My, oh my, oh my. Terpstra, unless he goes pretty much now, he's trusting his sprint against that of Alexander Christoph. This is incredible. You see everything in the Ronde De Vlanderaan, and we certainly are seeing everything here. Christoph looks behind. There is Terpstra
11
on his
seconds
wheel.
We get in the race radio.
11 said they can't afford to mess about too much then, because Sagan and Van Avermaet are ready. Christoph there again, they look behind. Oh, and here they come behind on their wheel. Sagan and Van Avermaet giving it everything to try and close the gap here. Christoph's going to look round in a minute. Just over 500 metres to go. Well, Terpstra waits and waits and waits. Cat, mouse.
How big is that gap, though? Christoph is playing this one. Watch out, though. Well, Van Avermaet is going for a long one.
Terpstra waits on the wheel. Terpstra waits on the wheel as Van Avermaet goes and looks to turn it on. Sagan, I don't think, has any energy left to put anything in. Sagan is not going to finish on the podium whatsoever. 6.5 hours almost as Christoph waits. It's going to be a very, very late sprint for the line, whoever chooses to go. It is going to be Terpstra who waits on the wheel. How long are they waiting? Here goes Terpstra. It's all out sprint now for the Tour of Flanders. Terpstra against Christoph. Christoph hits the front. Christoph on the front. Surely Terpstra can't do it. It's going to be Alexander Christoph, the first ever Norwegian winner of the Ronde De Vlanderaan. It's his second monument. Christoph does it. An absolute powerhouse after doing most of the work in the final 5Ks. Terpstra had nothing left. He had his go. He never even hit the front. Christoph straight alongside him, and that is a wonderful, wonderful win from the strongest rider on the road at the minute.
Well, the only words that really spring to my mind is you legend, absolute legend. The way to commit and still believe that you can beat him in the sprint, even though he's taken the last 2.5, almost 3 kilometres, and keeping the pace going, and make sure that they don't get caught, and then still manage to respond. I mean, Terpstra was never even in the run for it.
Here comes a sprint for minor places. Degenkolb is coming through. He's going to take it. What a day, what a ride. What a group of riders coming to the front. Alexander Christoph choosing to attack. Here he is. TV2 Norway already going crazy over their new winner. And there you have it. 10th win of the season for Alexander Christoph. A 14th for Katusha, who are having possibly the best week in the history of the team at the minute. They cannot stop winning. Christoph is the Tour of Flanders champion 2015, and he becomes the first ever Norwegian winner. He wins the 99th edition of this great race, and Alexander Christoph becomes a legend. Alexander Christoph wins Tour of Flanders 2015 with Nicky Terpstra in second, Greg Van Avermaet third, with Peter Sagan fourth, Benoit in fifth place. What a ride from him. Bohm sixth, Degenkolb seventh, with Roelants, Stibar and Elmiger finishing in the top 10. 10 top riders, a really good day, and the winner, Alexander Christoph.